Hello, my name is Chris. I am from California, USA, and I am this week's guest. Today I'm going to be talking about a subject that can be a little bit heavy. However, I feel like it's a very important topic to talk about, and that is the topic of suicide and just having dark thoughts as a trans person. Before we start, I'd like to say that anything I say in this video is based off my own personal experience and also research I have done on the topic. This does not reflect the trans community as a whole. Now, to start off with, according to an article written by the Los Angeles Times back in 2014, about 41% of trans-identified people or gender non-conforming people have reported that they have attempted suicide at one point in their lives or another. However, that rate increases for people who identify as a different sexual orientation, such as lesbian, gay, bisexual, etc. That rate increases up to 20%. And as stated before, people who identify as trans or even as non-conforming to any type of gender, the rates are a lot higher at 41%. All these results were actually taken by the National Transgender Discrimination Survey that was conducted in the same year, which is 2014. Now, why is it that the rate for attempted suicide by transgender people is so much higher than everyone else? For me personally, I think it's very simple, and it has a lot to do with the fact that transgender people or people who do not conform to any type of gender at all tend to be discriminated a lot more than cisgender people. I believe this is the case due to the fact that people who are trans-identified or do not conform to any type of gender at all are not considered a social norm in most cultures. Unfortunately, even in 2015, there's a lot of things that are considered very masculine to do, while there's a lot of things that are considered very feminine to do, even though the rules of gender roles and all that are actually blurring together very much so. Like many other types of minority people throughout our history, people tend to discriminate against them because, well, they're different. And most people who are not a part of that minority group do not understand or are not very well educated in what that culture or even what that group of people are all about. Hence why they tend to discriminate, and hence why it tends to harm those people who are part of those minority group. Unfortunately, it's only been in recent years where trans people or gender non-conforming people have been exposed more and more in the media. In fact, if you look at the past 5 years alone, more trans-identified people or gender non-conforming people have been exposed more and more in the media. People such as Laverne Cox, people such as Caitlyn Jenner, people such as Jeanette Mock, and even Key alum, and even Ruby Rose have been more exposed in the media, and more people seem like they are leaning towards accepting these type of people and just basically defending transgender and gender non-conforming people overall, which is great. And hopefully through education and more visibility for these type of communities, you bring about change where people are gonna start accepting people within these communities. People are gonna start offering help to people within these communities. And hopefully the alarming suicide attempt rates brought upon by these type of people can go down and be lowered. Now, for me personally, I chose to talk about this topic this week mainly due to the fact that World Suicide Prevention Day was this past September 10th. And even though this week is about a week late from the actual day, I believe it's still a great topic to talk about. Now, for those of you who are watching, who might be having dark thoughts about who they are, who might be having thoughts about suicide, I know this has been said many times before, and you probably heard it before too, and it might sound a little bit cliche, but you know what? It's the truth. It does get better. It really does. For me, at the age of 11, I started having a lot of dark thoughts about who I am. And at the age of 12, I myself attempted suicide. And it's kind of crazy to think about it now, because even though there were a lot of factors in my life that led me to that attempt, a lot of it had to do with the fact that I couldn't be myself. At that age, I realized something about myself that was a lot different from other people. The fact that I was in the wrong body, the fact that I was not like the other people in my community, my peers, and I were not the same. And like I said, though there were a lot of other factors in my life that led to that attempt, I'm really happy that I didn't go through with it. What I learned from being alive today is that life is what you make it. And honestly, it does get better. If you start reaching out to people out there in your community, people, you're not alone. You're never alone. And within the past 5 years of my transition, I have actually seen lots of changes. Like lots and lots of changes. Like changes you wouldn't even believe. 5 years ago when I first started my transition, honestly, there weren't a lot of resources out there. There weren't a lot of information online that there are today. And unfortunately at the time, I had to figure things out on my own. These days, there's so much more resources out there. There are communities that you can reach out to. And there are people who meet up locally, almost everywhere, to talk about their lives and their own stories and just share with each other. Honestly, you feel like you're alone out there. If you feel like you're hurt, you feel like you can't be yourself, there are going to be people out there who can talk to you, who can help you. Heck, I'll talk to you. I'll help you out. Because you're never alone out there. Alright? Please do yourself a favor and allow yourself to live, because everything gets better. Everything will be better if you let it to be. And one of the first steps in doing that is to let yourself live. Hopefully, I've left you with some enlightenment on the topic of suicide within the trans community and all that. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below. And also, if you like to learn more about the FTM community and also the trans community, I highly suggest you hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to Paperboy today. And if you want to see more of me, well, there are links to my social media and everything down below. Feel free to ask me questions on Tumblr, hit me up on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and also subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Box of Chris. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Peace.